Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
And I think I'm still Errin Haines.
You're still Errin Haines. You're a little late, but you're still Errin Haines.
I mean, coming in hot.
And Erin, we're so excited to have you back. And I just want to remind listeners that our dear Erin Ryan is still on maternity leave, but she'll be back next month.
We miss you, single R.
We miss you, single R. So double R. Did Trump buying, I'm putting this in quotes, buying a Tesla yesterday encourage you to go buy one too?
That's a no.
That's a no.
That's a no.
You know what, though? Do you feel better knowing that the president supported a struggling business?
I mean, is that confirmed? Do we know that he supported a struggling business?
Well, Tesla's struggling, that's for sure.
Tesla is struggling, but I mean, did he actually buy the Tesla? TBD.
TBD, or was it gifted? Was it when Trump sat in the Tesla yesterday, he's like, oh my God, it's a computer screen. Though the best part of the whole thing was just watching him, knowing that everyone inside was cringing because he decided to take questions at 3:55 p.m. Eastern time as the market was about to close.
Tanking.
And just watch that little ticker go down, down, down.
Yeah. And who knew that the richest man in the world could also pass as cosplaying a car salesman? Like that was kind of wild.
There's a man
Another
of many,
wild,
man of many
unprecedented
talents.
moment. Yes, absolutely.
Welcome back to Hysteria, the podcast that is convinced America is in retrograde. Erin, as we record today, all Department of Education offices are closed. When Trump appointed Linda McMahon as the Secretary of Education, he said he wanted her to, quote, put herself out of a job. And while that hasn't happened as of yet, this week, over 2,000 career employees at the Department of Education no longer have a job. This is about half the agency's staff, which is already the smallest of the federal agencies. McMahon said in a statement that the layoffs reflect the department's commitment to efficiency, accountability, and ensuring that resources are directed where they matter most, to students, parents, and teachers. But it's likely not going to end there. Rumors have been circulating that Trump plans to sign an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education altogether. And to further clarify what we believe to be going on, when asked on Fox News last night if she intended to shutter the Department of Education, McMahon answered simply, yes. And if we want to know what Trump might like to see happen if the Department of Education were shut down, according to the Associated Press, quote, the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, a sweeping proposal outlining a far-right vision for the country, offered a blueprint. It suggested sending oversight of programs for kids with disabilities and low-income children first to the Department of Health and Human Services, before eventually phasing out the funding and converting it to no-strings-attached grants to states. Erin, would you be stoked for RFK Jr. to be the person with oversight over kids with disabilities and low-income children?
I mean, well, first of all, President Trump, Project 2025, I thought we didn't know her.
Turns out we do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is going to be the blueprint for what happens to the Department of Education. But no, to your point, RFK Jr., somebody whose qualifications for being Health and Human Services Secretary were dubious, certainly him having anything to do with the Department of Education would be dubious. So no, oversight over children with disabilities or low-income children. P.S. also probably will have some overlap with the health of said children. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he is qualified to govern in that capacity. But this is apparently what is on the table.
He shouldn't even be HHS secretary.
Right.
Let alone in charge of K through 12. Like, it is so mind-numbing to me. Like the things, and this is the thing, when everyone was talking, when the media talks about how, well, we can't be hysterical and da-da-da. Actually, this is something to be fairly hysterical about. This is pretty bad.
Yes. I mean, education secretary whose job is to literally work herself out of a job. And she has been in this job for less than a week, and already we are seeing the shuttering of the Department of Education beginning to roll out.
It's like we've also glossed over the fact that prior to this, she was just in charge of like a wrestling fortune.
Yes. No, we should not gloss over that.
So here's a question. The Department of Education only accounts for 4% of the annual budget. So Erin, 4% does not seem like a lot. If you were to take, say, a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer to the budget, where would you cut some money from instead of just like the Department of Education?
Well, that's just it, Alyssa. We don't know. I mean, Department of Government Efficiency, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable title. Is there bloat in the government? Perhaps. Do we know where it is less than 2 months into this administration? Not necessarily, right? And so, even a scalpel approach, like the government is not a business, right? Like there are people that are doing jobs that are essential to how the government works, that actually do help actual American people, right? And I think that that's the important thing to remember here when we, because when you throw around phrases, in bureaucracy speak, or, even on, in the cable news sphere, reduction in force, no, we are talking about actual people who are helping.
Right.
What does it look like for that person's job to not exist? These are not, everybody cannot just be doing a job that is not necessary. And yet, just blanket wiping of people. I can't imagine, just given what we've already seen in these first couple of months, folks that have been dismissed only to find out, oh, wait, we actually need that person. That person's job is actually important. Can you come back? I would not be surprised if that is something that happens with these Department of Education firings.
So what's interesting to me is that if he had not fired all the inspectors general, they could have sent the inspectors general with a mission. We want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. This is your singular mandate. Go do it. That is how so much waste, fraud, and abuse has been cut from the government historically. But he got rid of all of them.
Yeah, there was somebody that had that job.
There was someone that had the job.
And
he got rid of them. 4% of the federal budget is not a lot. He is going after, this is the funniest thing, he goes after USAID. USAID was 1% of the federal budget. Now he's going after the Department of Education, 4% of the federal budget. But the agency's tasked with helping those who need the most help, right? And so now, I feel like you could have saved all of DOD by just doing a little trimming over, or you could have helped all of DOE stay afloat by just doing a little cutting at DOD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A couple defense contracts and 2,000 employees at the Department of Education feels like it would have been small potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, look, and if ensuring that all students have equal access to education is not a primary function of our government, we should be asking why. Right? I mean, what happens to the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights? They investigate student claims of discrimination. Seems like an important thing to investigate. They disperse the federal funding to help schools, with economically disadvantaged youth, students with disabilities. They administer the federal student loan program. Is that not something that maybe, the American people need? So again, really laying out the real life consequences of a decision like this, instead of just kind of making it a blanket, oh, this is in the name of efficiency. No, there will be real life consequences to this that the American people will actually feel.
Well, and again, Trump is doing something with no plan, right? People have been saying for years, Republicans, some Democrats, mostly Republicans have been saying, George Bush was a huge proponent of this, President Bush, of getting rid of the Department of Education and sending the funding back to the schools. This was, what did he call it? Compassionate conservatism. But he sort of had a bit of a plan back then. They want to blow this all up with no plan, right? So Erin, can Trump actually disband the Department of Education on his own?
Oh, wait, no, surprise. That's a no. That's a no. Congress would have to get rid of the Department of Education. So, I mean, really, the effect of these firings is to, kind of hollow out the Department of Education.
Yes.
Make it so that they really are not functioning. Yes. So functionally ending the Department of Education, but no, Congress would actually have to dismantle this government agency.
They would. And right now, the thing about it is, so many people do not even really understand what the Department of Education does, right? It's actually a very financial organization. It's a financial department. They are in charge of all the money that goes to the schools and then the standards by which many of the schools function. So what he's proposing in theory, because he actually has no plan, he's made no presentation of, I want to get rid of the plan. Here's how the funds will get to the states. Here's how they'll be dispersed. State legislatures are currently not built to do this. to dispense this kind of funding.
Federal student loan program.
Right.
How are people going to get that? And also just like, yes, is equal access to education a priority for this administration in the absence of a federal agency that is overseeing that, right? Like, I mean, right. I think that is a question that should be asked of this administration, and they should have to explain what their plan is for making sure, or if equal access is not a priority, say that too.
Just say it. Just tell us what your plan is. But right now, what we know as we record today is the Department of Education, all offices are closed, 2,000 employees have been fired, and Linda McMahon says on Fox that she wants to shutter the Department of Education. So that's what we know. So, okay. Hysteria is brought to you by Ritual. You guys, if there is one thing that my blood work always tells me when I go to the doctor, it's that I am low on vitamin D. My Oma always used to tell me that all I needed was a little sunshine on my back for 20 minutes a day, but it's not working, so I think I fall into the category of so many others. 97% of women aged 19 to 50 are not getting enough vitamin D from their diet. Ritual's Essential for Women 18 Plus was shown to increase vitamin D levels by 43% in a clinical study. So what does that mean? It means I take Ritual. I like it so much because I do not have to disrupt my routine. So many vitamins I have tried to take before, you have to take them with food, or you shouldn't take them with food. And then if you don't take them with food, you have like this pit in your stomach all day where you're just like, well, I took my vitamin because it's still there. So that's not what happens anymore. Now I get up, I take some ginger, I put it in a pot of water, I boil it, I make my fresh ginger tea, I take my Ritual vitamin, and then I'm pretty much off to do whatever I need to do for the day. That's it. Easy peasy. Ritual uses scientific tools to select lower carbon packaging, prioritize sustainably sourced ingredients, and set ambitious climate goals. Ritual is a female-founded B Corp, meaning they're holding themselves accountable to not just their company's financial health, but to the health of the people and our planet. So no more shady business. Ritual's Essential for Women 18 and over is a multivitamin you can actually trust. Get 25% off your first month for a limited time at ritual.com/hysteria. Start Ritual or add Essential for Ritual 18 and over to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/hysteria for 25% off. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys, we all need a support system. These days are hard. It's not easy. I have a village. I have a full village that it takes to help keep me on my toes and putting one foot in front of the other some days. In a society that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget we're all better when we do have that support system behind us. You don't have to do it alone. Therapy can be a source of support for any area in your life. I need it sometimes for work, for just my mental health when I'm feeling down. Sometimes I'm like, have I peaked too soon? Am I ever going to do anything really great again? And if I'm not, that's okay. But let's just find something for me to keep my day busy with, right? I don't know. If you've benefited from therapy, you know what I'm talking about. I have been in therapy. It's helped me to put things in perspective. It's giving me coping mechanisms for when my anxiety can be really out of control. But sometimes you really do need that person who can help reflect back to you what is really going on and all the things that can help you, from more therapy to getting outside to seeing friends to, in my case, sometimes it turns out I spend too much time alone sometimes, and that's not good for me. So give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable, convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. It has access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/hysteriapod to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hysteriapod. This is like lightly more fun, a little bit maybe, a little bit. Did you notice that Kamala HQ has awoken from winter hibernation?
Okay, now was that real, or was that a little accident that happened maybe on Threads?
I don't know, but over the weekend, the account started posting again on Threads. And while Harris has been lying pretty low lately, we can't help but wonder about her next move.
Yeah.
We've gotten some answers. According to Politico, sources I'm putting in quotes, sources close to Harris have said she will definitively decide whether to jump into the 2026 California gubernatorial election by the end of the summer. This week, State Representative Katie Porter launched a campaign, but Porter's advisor said she would back out if Harris joined the race. Harris has repeatedly said to people, I'm staying in this fight. Erin, what do you think? Is she staying in the fight? Is this the fight she should be in? What do you think of all this?
Clearly I am very interested. Vice President Harris, if you're listening, please give me a call and let me know what your plans are. Staying in the fight, I think that could probably take many different forms. She actually did make a rare appearance kind of post this administration taking office. She got an award from the NAACP last month, I believe, and she came out and she did make some remarks, and it was very encouraging to that audience and to the broader audience that was tuned in, telling them to stay in the fight, to stay encouraged, and reminding them that people know what to do in moments like these, and so we should kind of lean on the past to know how to respond to this present moment, and people really seemed to resonate with the people that were in that room. A lot of people seemed to be happy to hear from her on social media, and so obviously there's never been a Black woman elected governor in this country. So, it is yet another opportunity for her to potentially become a trailblazer. People seem to think that maybe, if she did jump into this race, given her popularity, both, especially in that state, that she is somebody that could potentially clear the field. Katie Porter are already saying she would stand down if Vice President Harris decided that she did want to jump into this race. So, given that, kind of by the end of the summer timeline, I think a lot of people will be very interested. Also, it's rumored that she is mulling writing a book. That's another way to stay in the fight, right? To kind of tell her story, keep her narrative out there, and kind of contextualize in her own words, whether that is her vice presidency or what the 2024 that wild campaign was about, what she thinks happened, and maybe even how she's thinking about questions of leadership in the future. So yeah, I mean, I think it could take many forms. And governor is among the paths that she could take.
I would love to see her as governor of California. I actually did not know until you just said it that a Black woman had not been a governor in the United States.
Never. Stacey Abrams tried to be sure, came close a couple of times in Georgia, but it has never actually happened.
And now, I mean, California has a podcaster basically for governor. So did you see that Governor Newsom is having Steve Bannon on his podcast next? I
have not had a chance to listen yet. He is on, apparently that's live as we speak. So I'm going to have to check that out to see what's going on. The Charlie Kirk podcast was certainly
newsworthy.
made a little news.
But you know what? I think to myself, it's like, okay, we've got Gavin Newsom. He's moving over to podcast. Clearly, the podcast feels to me like floating a trial balloon for how he can.
And a very specific kind of podcast universe, right? I mean, he's in the manosphere at this point, right?
Yes, this is not just a bipartisan podcast.
No, he's definitely hitting the manosphere circuit. So I mean, Charlie Kirk was certainly a surprise to a lot of people. This week it's Steve Bannon. Where are we going next? I mean, I think people it's getting people's attention. For sure, just to see what he is going to do. I don't know. I mean, obviously, this was a blueprint that, the president used to some success, reaching different audiences. I don't know if that is a blueprint for that works for people who are not named Donald Trump. I don't know.
It feels awkward and uncomfortable personally for me. And who he might have on his show sometime soon? Tony Hinchcliffe. Does that name ring a bell?
Sure. Tony Hinchcliffe, he of new upcoming Netflix special, I guess.
Let me tell you.
That's the reward for calling Puerto Rico floating garbage?
Floating garbage. So, I mean, Erin, Meghan Markle's compulsion to wear white in the kitchen should be the least of our worries when it comes to Netflix.
Shout out to the high-low.
High-low. But this week, Netflix announced a not just one, but 3 special deal with Tony Hinchcliffe, the slimy comedian who is best known for calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage, as you mentioned, during Trump's extreme bad vibes Madison Square Garden rally. Erin, here's my question. Why? Why do we need 3? Why do we need any? Here's the thing. I know Netflix, they did Dave Chappelle. They have definitely had an openness to very controversial people in the past. But here's what I think the difference is. This is like a real clear political ideology he has aligned himself with. There is no real gray area. There's no being like, it's comedy. You have to just laugh. I mean, like, I saw him on the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah.
And he was among the most, like I love comedy. I can, I like to laugh. He was among the least funny and most, like, gasping. I was like, his jokes made me like, question for you. Do you think that after the Madison Square Garden rally, when so many celebrities like Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez and Aubrey Plaza came out, do you think that it raised his profile? Like, do you think there's any chance that this is what got him the special?
Absolutely. And listen, I mean, is it my brand of comedy? It is not. Is it some people's brand of comedy? Perhaps. Also, are people going to be watching for the car crash of it all? Absolutely, yes. And I think that because, this comes in the wake of his Madison Square Garden headline grabbing offensive remarks, does he see this as a reward for that moment, and then double down on those kinds of sentiments? I really wonder what we're going to get in these in these 3 specials, and what happens for him, what happens for Netflix for platforming this, kind of as a result. I mean, certainly, I'm a proponent of free speech over here, but, I am definitely paying attention to kind of what we are rewarding.
Yes.
By deciding that this is worth a very lucrative, Netflix deal, that would be kind of what happens on the other side of those kinds of comments.
Mm-hmm. Not to transition in the most ham-handed way possible, but speaking of not knowing what you're going to get.
There are no segues.
Speaking of not knowing what you're going to get, MAGA is curious what they've gotten in Amy Coney Barrett. So last week, Amy Coney Barrett split with her fellow conservative justices when she voted to reject Trump's attempt to freeze nearly $2 billion in foreign aid, along with Chief Justice John Roberts. The right-wing media went nuts, labeling her as a DEI hire. Laura Lomer, one of MAGA's finest, posted a picture of the justice with her family, which includes 2 adopted Black children, with the caption, "Amy Coney Barrett was a DEI appointee."
What was she referring to when she says appointee? Does she mean as judge or as mom of these Black children?
Unclear. Laura Lomer, nuance is not her thing.
Okay.
So also, she was appointed by Trump. So Amy Coney Barrett has a very conservative track record, including voting to overturn Roe v. Wade. In 2023, 80% of her votes aligned with Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, the court's most conservative justices. Now, when all of this blew up on social media and all of MAGA came after Amy Coney Barrett, Trump did defend her on Sunday, calling her a, quote, very good and smart woman. Then the world's most terminally online man claimed to have been unaware of the recent right-wing attack against her. So here's my question. Erin, was Amy Coney Barrett a DEI hire?
Oh, happy Women's History Month, Alyssa. Feels good, doesn't it? I mean, look, no, like I am not here to weaponize DEI, but what I will say is that there were concerns raised when Amy Coney Barrett was first nominated about whether she was qualified to be a Supreme Court justice, right? Despite, her many accomplishments, right? But I mean, just in terms of the resume, the criteria that we typically assign to, Supreme Court justice nominees, people were asking whether Amy Coney Barrett fit that bill. That said, at the time, there were Republicans who were absolutely willing to defend her credentials, absolutely saying this person should be the next Supreme Court justice, the person that should be replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right?
Right.
Fast forward to today, apparently DEI hire maybe is code for we don't like what you did.
Yeah.
Like so now you're unqualified.
Yeah,
right
now she's unqualified.
Now you're unqualified because apparently the qualification is that you are supposed to align yourself with President Trump at all times.
Do you think that all of the hullabaloo is going to scare her straight? Like, do you think it'll make her consider her votes going forward?
If she is a DEI hire, she's not a DEI hire that can get fired.
Right. Correct. She can't get fired.
So I don't know why that would make, you know what I mean? Like she is not somebody that is beholden to voters.
It's true.
To anyone, right? And let me also just say, I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad that you point out, that she is a very conservative justice. Yeah. I mean, she does usually vote with her conservative counterparts on the court. I know that there has been talk, because, to the extent that she does break with those justices,
right,
trying to say, oh, well, maybe she's going to be some sort of maverick, or, maybe she's going to be the person that saves democracy. I don't know that we've seen necessarily any proof of that.
No. Also, isn't their outrage just telling on themselves? Like, justices aren't supposed to be partisan.
Well, that
and they're like, you didn't vote the party line.
We're past that.
I know, but still,
I think we're past that. But kicking her out of kicking her out of the off the team because she's done a couple of things that they don't like in these first days of the administration. I do think that is telling.
Yeah, this one gets me. I don't know. Like, I was like, glad, I wasn't glad that she did it because it politically aligned with me, but it showed that there was something that she looked at the law and was like, the law wins. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, DEI not being limited to people of color. We see that it is for whoever they have decided has a job that they suddenly should not have. That is apparently, what diversity, equity, and inclusion means in this context.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hysteria is brought to you by Naked Wines. Have you ever wanted to learn more about wine? The oaky, the smoky, fruit forward? I don't know. But you can't figure out where to start because there is so much? Or when you do start, it just feels like I said, too much. Our next partner, Naked Wines, has changed the game for learning about wine without having to take a whole class about it. Because, come on, we all just want to know enough so that we can be passable at a dinner party. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. It's 2025. Do you still shop for wine like it's 2005? I mean, dagger, yes, probably. Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. Use our code HYSTERIA for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. The last time I drank a bottle from my Naked Wines collection, it was a delicious surprise. It was a little bit of a rosé. I'm not gonna lie, put a couple ice cubes in because that's how I like it. But it was perfect. It was everything I was looking for. It was light. It was fun. It made me think it was the middle of the summer, even though it was the doldrums of the winter. How do they do it? How does Naked Wines do it? Naked Wines connects winemakers and wine drinkers directly, allowing for vineyard to your door delivery at up to 60% off what you would pay in the store. By cutting out the traditional retail middleman costs and markups, winemakers can pass those savings on to you without skimping on quality. So let me just tell you why I love Naked Wines. It's easy and it's delicious. I've never had a bottle I didn't love, which is kind of rare for me. When you say what you like, people are listening. So I have a sensitive stomach. They try to send me things that aren't too acidic. And I really enjoy that. Naked Wines has been around for over 15 years and funds over 90 independent winemakers around the world. With no commitments or membership fees, you can enjoy Naked Wines hassle-free. And don't forget, you can pause or cancel at any time. So just because you've got a trip coming up doesn't mean you can't actually enjoy your Naked Wines before or after that much-needed vacation. So now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/hysteria, click enter voucher, and put in my code HYSTERIA for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/hysteria and use the code and password HYSTERIA for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99. Hysteria is brought to you by Haya. Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy additives growing kids should never eat. That's why Haya created a super powdered, chewable vitamin. While many children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar, which is known to contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy additives. Yet it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters. Haya fills in the most common gaps in modern children's diets to provide the full body nourishment our kids need with a yummy taste they love. Formulated with the help of pediatricians and nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immune system, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more. It's non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and anything else you can imagine. Every single batch is third-party tested for heavy metals and microbials in a qualified GMP-compliant lab using scientifically validated testing methods, so you know the product is safe and nutritious. Haya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door, so parents have one less thing to worry about. And for me personally, ever since I discovered Haya, I have shared them with so many of my mom friends whose kids I thought might like them. And everyone is now a converted Haya fan. Kids love them, moms love them, and when kids take them, they're not bouncing off the walls because they are not full of sugar. So for all of you who are tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens, Haya now has Kids Daily Greens and Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with over 55 whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just a scoop, shake it, and sip it with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. We've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamins. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/hysteria. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/hysteria and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Now, let's get to Sani Petty. Erin, are you Sani or are you Petty?
Sadly, I'm both. I'm both because I am on the journey that is Love Meghan.
Okay.
Which, I cannot look away, and yet I need it. I need the palette cleanser that is Love Meghan, right? I love a candle. Do I love Ladybug Crostini? Not so much, but I love a candle. I love me some quick pasta, okay? I love a drunk Mindy Kaling who maybe isn't doing everything perfectly. P.S. Where's her show?
Okay, that was my takeaway. Where's Mindy's With Love from Mindy's show?
Mindy is Anna Garden. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Just putting that out there in the universe while we're giving out Netflix specials.
Very true. I have to tell you, I watched the entire series last weekend, and I howled with laughter, and I wasn't laughing. I wasn't like laughing at her. I mean, this is very controversial. Several podcasts have talked about this show, and the vibe. It's an intense reaction. People have intense reactions to all critique or talk around With Love Meghan show. First, I'm just going to say her penmanship should be its own character.
It is, yes. Love that. I'm like, I need to work on this. If I had to label some things, could people would they know what they were getting?
But I got to tell you, if people are going to get mad and be like, nobody made fun of Gwyneth Paltrow, yes, Gwyneth Paltrow was mightily made fun of, number one.
As I also ordered things.
100%. I make fun of Gwyneth, but the Goop jeans make me look younger, okay?
Please.
And that's a peptide serum, not actual jeans.
But also the jeans.
Have
ordered the jeans and like, for the jeans.
Why can't we have fun? If someone's paid millions of dollars to make a TV show and we find the Sani and the Petty in it,
yes,
I think that that's a gift to the world.
It is.
Because I'm sorry, if you think I am not going to laugh a little, that there is a show that starts out in the second episode, because the Mindy Kaling epised is the banger. Of all of them, it is the banger. And she starts out being like, I got up early because I realized I had no food in the house for Mindy. No, what? That's crazy. That is crazy talk that happens to nobody. No. You're not filming a TV show with Mindy Kaling coming over and realize you have no food for that person.
You come over to my house, Alyssa, I'm not throwing together a frittata for you. I mean, maybe.
You know what? Microwave me a burrito.
I got you.
That's it.
I got you.
That's all you got to do.
But I'll put some flowers on it. if that helps. I could totally sprinkle some flowers on that burrito.
She loved the flower sprinkles so much, but it was like, look, I think that it is a hilarious show. My husband literally was like, I think it cured your anxiety, because I just laid back and I was like, this is just a balm of chaos kind of for my soul.
It is a bath salts, eucalyptus, lavender.
The bath salts were crazy.
It was amazing. I was like, I would like this.
Also, here's the thing. For everyone out there getting mad about any critique of the show, all I'm here to say is it's a Netflix show, and there were definitely things they could have cut that made her look a little bit better, right? Like, it's not an unscripted show. I mean, is it an unscripted show? I don't know what it qualifies as. I don't know. But they could have cut out the endorsement for the Laura Piana sweater. Right?
Did you want to go to that beehive, though?
I did want to go to the beehive.
I mean,
the beehive was really interesting and exceptional. And yeah, she said some weird stuff, but also she didn't seem to have cue cards or prompts or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the conversations. My second favorite episode was Roy Choi, because that fried chicken looked insane. Like, here's the thing. Some of the critique was so bad faith. And I was like, there's one episode, I think it's the first episode, where she's making the truffle popcorn.
I love truffle popcorn, though.
Someone screen grabs that there's microwave popcorn on the counter. And when I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, no, wait, but what, wasn't there like a microwave popcorn trick?
So here's the thing. Here's what I think happened. So she goes to make this thing with the ear of corn, and she puts the ear of corn in the microwave to make popcorn. I think they must have edited out where she says, you can also make this with microwave popcorn, because it's actually not hidden. She pulls the microwave popcorn out with her hands from a cabinet. So it's not like some trick, like somehow popcorn came from the microwave popcorn bag and they put it in with the ear of corn. But so there was a lot of bad faith criticism. But I will say, changing your outfit 3 times when you cook did seem excessive to me, but I enjoyed every minute of it.
I did too. I was here for the fits. I was here for the truffle popcorn. I was here for the to-go, pretzels and candles. I was here for all of it.
I didn't care. I thought it was funny.
It's not hurting anybody.
It's not hurting anybody, but it was hilarious on many levels. And the funny thing is, I am Sani this week because of a different TV show that I watched after I finished with Love for Meghan, called The Pit. Have you heard of The Pit?
That's Sani for you?
Oh, Sani. Have you watched The Pit?
I have not watched The Pit, but I was obviously an old school ER girly. So I understand the ER to Pit pipeline. A lot of people are on this journey.
Let me tell you.
I've been busy.
Is better. I'm going to tell you something. I started watching it because someone had used it. They were talking about a TV show and they're like, like The Pit. And I was like, I hadn't really paid attention because I'm like, I don't need a medical show. It's just going to depress me. Well, I'm just going to be real with you and our listeners that I was a freshman in college when ER came out. I have a deep affection for Noah Wyle. I feel like we've been on a journey for a long time together. And when I saw he was head of the ER in this one, I'm like, Dr. Carter, you made it.
I'm back.
Like, you're here. You're Dr. Ross now. Like, this is or Dr. Green. Like, this is so exciting. And then I started watching it. It is so well written.
Okay.
It is joyful. It has heart, like way more heart than ER was very boom, 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 and was paced in such a way that I don't think I could handle now. But this is just
it was chaotic.
That was a very chaotic show. And this is chaotic in its own way, but I really encourage people to check it out. I really do think I can do a tracheotomy now. There's one in almost every episode. But
listen, I have my Law and Order degree. I mean, I'm a JD.
We can solve crimes.
1,000%.
So I'm just saying, in the world, and the best part was, one of my friends, it turns out, is the executive producer of the show, and I emailed her to say how proud I was, like what a great show I thought it was, and I'm like, 10 episodes just doesn't feel like enough, and she's like, there are 15. I am embarrassed at the level of glee, straight up glee, that it brought me, because I was like, oh my God, because I'd been saving the 10th episode because I'm like, I'm not ready for it to be done.
Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins.
So tonight, I promise you, I'm going to be watching episode 10 to see what happens, but I would say it's a very modern version on ER. I will let people watch it and see what I mean by that, but it is very modern, and it is empathetic, and it has a lot of heart. And it is exactly what I needed.
Okay. I should be so lucky as to find 5 bonus episodes of White Lotus as we are approaching the end.
Tsunami!
I mean, I cannot. I I will turn my attention to The Pit after I have devoted my full attention to White Lotus, because I am locked in, people. Locked in.
And the beauty is, by the time we're all done with White Lotus, you'll have 15 episodes to watch.
Yes. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Thank you, Errin Haines, for co-hosting. And listeners, we'll be back next week.